Well, good evening, folks. Welcome to my Psychic Connection. I am your host, Journey Ryan. It is Thursday night. That means we are here with Marin, our dream interpreter. And I am so excited. I've been telling people to come on, get on board, get over here, check it out, because guess what? We had some people during the week asking about dreams, and I was like, we got the perfect solution for you. Join us on Thursday night, and they're supposed to be joining us. I know one of them, if I remember correctly, her name was Shay. She had some really interesting questions about dreams, and I was like, you totally have to join her show on Thursday night.
That's wonderful.
The way she was explaining her dream, I was like, oh, Marin's gonna love that. I can't let this go unsaid. This has to be done.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, while if questions are coming in, I'd like to share an image that I had a dream about, and I think it's just, it wanted to come forward tonight.
Right.
So the image that came up in my dream were two arrows going the opposite direction. And as the dream progressed, it became this image. So basically, and I keep this up on my desk, because what it's basically saying is we do have our differences of opinions, but, if we constantly move away from each other, it creates such a very sad space. And so the medicine to this particular dream image was bending. So if we bend, we can actually form that circle, that wholeness. So I just thought I would share that tonight. If you have a dream to bring forward, if you would please, have a snippet of it and try and provide as much detail about that particular snippet as much as possible. And, we'll talk about it, bring the images forth. And, there might be a space here and there. And so what I'll do is I'll talk about the image very generally. And then when you, because I do ask questions, and while you're formulating your answers, I will talk about it generally, and then respond to whatever the image is coming up for you.
Absolutely. Well, we do have somebody that's waiting here about a dream. This question's coming from Facebook from Pamela. Pamela says, what does it mean if I had a dream about snakes all around me, everywhere I walked?
Okay, so the question that I would ask, that I'm asking, is when you say there are snakes all around you, can you kind of give me a little bit more of an image? Is it kind of like the Indiana Jones, snakes, where they're just everywhere? Are they aggressive? Are they saying, hey, how's it going? Or are they just present? When you say the snakes are all around you, are they around your feet? Or are they up in trees? Are they coming out of crevices in the mountain or something like that? So it says everywhere that you walked. So, that's why I'm asking the nature of the snake. So while you're formulating, if you, can kind of answer those questions, I can talk about snakes in general. Snakes are very scary. It's a very scary image. However, snakes are are healing medicine. As I mentioned in past shows, snakes shed their skin, and there's a growth. There's also the caduceus. On ambulances, pharmacies, you will see the snake that wraps around the staff. So there's a lot of healing medicine there. There's also Adam and Eve, where the snake is demonized, but actually it's offering a gift of knowledge. But on the other side of that, there's also the snake in the grass. There is that what in waking life does a person seem to be snake-like? And with this imagery of possibly coming out to bite you. So those are I look at both the negatives and the positives, or I try and look at the scenario all around.
Well, Pamela said that she said it was like walking outside around a pond, and they were just on the ground, and some trying to hand
them to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm getting from this is that the snakes were passive, that they were just present, and they're around pond or around emotions. A pond is an enclosed kind of body of water. So I'm wondering if, there's part of ourselves, we are made of 70–80% water. There's part of our emotions that are maybe trying to be awakened by snake energy. And the fact that someone is trying to hand it to you. So is that someone aggressive, or is that someone who is almost like a disembodied voice? Is it someone that is, here's a snake? Is it a gentle handing it over to you, or is it an aggressive handing it over to you? That's what I'm wondering.
Right.
So then, again, if the snakes are passive, for me, it's medicine, it's healing, it's a growth kind of nature. And then in some dream dictionaries, they consider snakes to be also sexual. I like to look at all parts of the dream imagery. I'm not really seeing that. What I am seeing, though, is a handing over of the opportunity for growth and knowledge. And so I'm wondering if there's a stinging there, or if there's some kind of bite medicine that you may experience in order to wake up to the healing nature of snake. So I hope does that resonate with you?
Right. All right. She says my husband, he tried to hand it to me.
So, okay. So again, I do ask a lot of questions. What does it mean when he tried to hand it to you? So, and it is your husband. So now I'm wondering if it is sexual in nature, handing over love that is, that is bearing all, that is stripping away the skin and handing you the pure essence of snake energy, of healing, of love, of knowledge. And so when you say he tried to hand it to me. Is it something that, are you afraid? Are you, you know, are you feeling uncomfortable about that? Or are you kind of, okay, I'll take it, all right, you know, I'm just wondering what that is, what that's all about. And if you consider him to be a protector and a teacher, I'm just wondering about that.
Now there's a twist on it that I, wasn't thinking. She says, "I'm afraid of snakes," so I didn't take it.
Okay. Again, I don't blame you. Snakes are very frightening, but I would welcome, if it's a reoccurring dream, I would welcome the image as, try and imagine the snake as a gift of knowledge. Sometimes it's going to be venomous, sometimes it's going to bite, but sometimes we need to get bitten in order to wake up to the healing and the truth of the nature of, the growth, the shedding of the skin. So, I just wonder if snake is coming to you. I think that's what initially you said, that you have dreams about snakes all around you.
We had been arguing a lot at the time.
Okay. I see, I mean, biting, the venom, but then there's the healing, and then there's the love, and then there's the knowledge.
She said, "Yes."
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for bringing this forward.
She said,
I love it.
Now we do have some other dreams that are popping up here, so we're going to get to those as well. This one also comes from Facebook from Brandy. "What does it mean when I dream about my father and he's reaching out to hug me, and when I go to touch him and hug him back, I can't feel him?"
So my question is your father still living? Or is he passed?
She also says, "Prior to me not being able to touch him, I was searching for him in the dream. I call him and he told me to meet him at a certain place and he never showed up. I went to my grandmother's house and found him there, immediately cried. As he reached out to hug me, I couldn't touch him."
Okay. I'm just making notes. Thank you.
"He passed away when I was 6, is what she said.
Okay. And I'm first let me express how sorrowful that is. I can speak in my own experience with my father passing. We were extremely close. And, but sometimes when the father or the mother come up in our dreams, sometimes it also represents the masculine and the feminine. So what, again, there aren't scientific studies on this, but my belief on visitations, when a loved one comes to you in a dream image, it comes forth in love and in peace. They're in nirvana. There's the pureness of it. The fact that there was some disappointment, perhaps it's the masculine side of us that has been disappointed in some way. There is perhaps some authority figure in waking life that has not been there firmly, that has not been there to firmly touch and grasp, to be really to the point, grounded and in touch. And so I'm just wondering if in waking life, is there some authority figure, or is there some kind of person that is not in touch? Or is it something within, our own psyche, the masculine and the feminine, that the masculine isn't balanced with the feminine, that has caused disappointment and a reaching out, but not connecting and not touching? Does that resonate?
All right, we're waiting for her to answer on that. As we got more dreams popping up here, guys, please leave a comment here about your dream. Try to get as detailed as possible. Marin will ask questions along the way, so get ready to pull out them keyboards and start typing away as she asks her questions. And you'll learn about certain things in the dream that you may not have been paying attention to, but for some reason, it's one of those things that you point out. As one of the girls had talked to Marin last time, she started talking about a bench, but not thinking that the bench had any meaning. It actually played an important part in the dream.
Yeah, I was really again, that was a gift. I mean, these dream images are certainly a gift, and it's something that I am just privileged to be, in the presence of. I think part of that dream also was a 4-story house, and so that makes me wonder about the stories of our life. The first chapter of our life, or the second stage, or the third, era, or whatever that is of our life.
Well, Brandy did say, "I don't have a male role model."
Roles. So,
It does feel so. I feel so hurt when he was happy to see me, but so disappointed when I couldn't touch him.
And so I'm respectfully saying, when a parent passes at such an early age, at age 6, I'm just wondering, I mean, it just makes me feel like there wasn't a connection, a full fatherly, that kind of masculine side connection. If this is in a visitation kind of context, know that oh God, I can't believe I'm going to say this, that your father is actually very proud of you. Now that's a psychic kind of thing, isn't it, Ryan?
It is a psychic thing. You grabbed that right out of that dream.
And
that self.
I'm sorry. But and so that makes me wonder if he's trying to let you know that. And I'm wondering, some things like this, if we journal about it, we can go back into the dream, revisit the dream, and have the parent, that figure, come forward and then develop a connection. I can share in my own dream of my father. I couldn't speak at his funeral. I couldn't because I had to keep it together. There was a lot to do. I had a lot of responsibility. And so I could never lose it. And when he came to me in a dream, I saw him and I said, I can't touch you. I can't hug you because I can't lose it. However, in the dream, I was able to become somewhat lucid. And so in the dream, I said, you know what? This is a dream. I'm going to hug you and I'm going to love you. I'm just going to melt into your arms. And I'm so happy that I did, because I think that was, you know, he doesn't come around very often, but it was that initial, I don't want to completely die all over again when he passed, but to be able to connect and surrender and be open to, you know, I'm just going to melt all over you. That helped to sustain me, if you understand what that is. But anyway,
so that was something I was gonna say to the effect of the disappearing, and this is what I was picking up on a psychic level, is not that he was disappearing in the dream, not because he wanted to disappear, and that she didn't want to touch him because the urge to touch him was there, but because of her own feelings of failure and disappointment, that was taking from her in order to reach to touch him. Like she lost the energy.
Yeah, there was that connection deficit.
Yes.
You know? And that's why that's why I just got a hit that he's actually quite proud of you.
That's amazing.
You
That's
know?
so amazing.
And it's worth re-exploring. It's worth journaling. You know, to very slowly and gently making that connection, and also understanding our dual nature of masculine and feminine. I hope that helps.
Now, don't forget the journaling, guys. The journaling. I've got a whole bunch of they're amazing. Oh yes, I love it. I love it. Now there are apps on your cell phones. There's apps on your iPads and things of that nature. Now I do know that they do say not to keep electronics by your bed. It messes with your vibration while you're
sleeping. It's that electrical energy, or whatever that is.
Right.
I have actually written my journal in the dark.
That's so much fun.
And in the morning, I then can make it out. I mean, you kind of understand your own handwriting, your own style.
Yes.
And so I just have a pencil and yeah.
She's a dream writer.
And then it does. And then when we fully awake, to kind of open your eyes slowly, or just take time. Just don't jump out of bed. Get that coffee. It kind of ease awake, and then kind of maybe look at your journal, revisit the images, and see what comes forward. And you might notice a little bit more.
Nice. She says, wow, thank you both. You are welcome. Absolutely. I look forward to this day every week, because I know what type of dreams I have, which I'll be sharing one here with you guys here in just a little bit. So everybody stay tuned in, because I've gone on yet one more spiritual adventure through my dreams. So I'm expecting what I've always expected when that happens. So we'll get down to that here in just just a little bit. All right, so we talked to Brandy, and we've talked with Pamela. Now we're going to talk with Michelle. She's coming from Facebook. She said, the past couple nights, I've had dreams about someone trying to attack me. I always wake up before they get me, though.
Okay. The past couple of nights. And so, my questions would be, is this a reoccurring dream? Is this, when you say the past couple of nights, is this recent? And when someone is trying to attack, there's different ways of looking at it. So I would ask, what does the attacker look like? And waking up before they get you is understandable. So my question
says yes last night and then a couple nights ago.
Okay, so it's happened twice. Okay. And also, what does the attacker look like? And so I'm going to actually ask you to be the attacker. I'm going to ask you to go into that image. And what does the attacker want to do?
Pamela thinks the show's pretty awesome there.
So if you were the attacker and the attacker now sees you, what is the attacker thinking of? What is the attacker wanting to do?
It's a good question. As we wait on her to reply to your question, I see other questions coming in, guys. We are going to get to them, so just place them in the comment section. Get ready to be on the keyboard to respond to some of Marin's questions. But the attacker, what I got, psychically about her attacker is that it wasn't another person. That her attacker, if she looked clearly, was herself.
Thank you very much. Yes.
So that's kind of where I seen that psychically. So I can't wait to hear what she says. So,
I would like to see that as well. I can speak generally while we're waiting for that.
All right.
Sometimes the attacker in our dreams is something in waking life that the dream self is trying to tell you something. It's trying to tell you something. It's trying to wake you up, and so that you can face it. So that's why I'm wondering, this attacker is coming, but I would want to know, okay.
He had white hair. He kept walking toward me aggressively. He seemed angry. I think he wanted to take me. That's what I felt. I was trying to get into a building, and he reached out, and I screamed and woke up. Okay. She screamed no, and I woke up.
So there are two ways to go with this. Mm-hmm. In waking life, is there something about whatever the situation is that you're feeling attacked? Is there something in waking life? And I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna look at the full range of this. Is there something that the waking self is ignoring perhaps a psychic ability, perhaps some kind of magic, some kind of knowledge in the unseen, in the invisible world. That sometimes we get kind of Harry Potter, and I'm not a wizard, you know, we kind of we don't want to know that we can do those things because of other people around us that can say, "Wow, you have that ability, you're crazy," you know, or you know, just kind of that judgment. That judgment, that ego, is an attacker. That part of ourselves that says, "No, I really can't do that," that's an attacker. Sometimes the dream self aggressively, you know, charges and says, "You have these abilities, wake up and use them. It's a gift that you're holding back." And then okay, so that to me would be the medicine part of this scary dream. And then the other part would be, is there someone in waking life that is causing not insecurity, but is causing some doubt in oneself? For me, trying to escape into a building is trying to go back into ourselves. You know, the protection, the walls of the building. And the fact that this you know, and this figure is aggressively coming with white hair. Now, please, I worked very hard for this white hair. You know, I call it wisdom.
She
And
says, I have been really down lately, just feeling like I don't do enough. I want to have achieved more things like that.
okay, so now I'm wondering if this figure is asking to wake up. Is this from a different person, Ryan?
No, it's the same person.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm
What
thinking.
that is, I don't know how that happened. Sorry, Jennifer. We're going to get to your dream here in just a minute.
Okay.
Little tech problem.
Okay. Like I said, sometimes the dream self is saying, "Wake up! You know, there's life out there. Don't escape into that building. I'm going to pull you out of yourself." And you know, I'm wondering, it's, and I'll just kind of wrap with this. I'm wondering if the dream self is coming to help. And so in that context, I would look at this attacker. And if you can gain some kind of lucidity, turn to the attacker and say, "Why are you here?" And just try little bits, scream, you know, whatever it takes. But I'm wondering if the attacker is faced, and if you ask the question, you might get some kind of answer. And that's up to you to find.
Beautiful. Very beautiful. All right, guys. I see you guys have these questions coming. Sorry about that, Jennifer. It kind of posted before I I realized it did, but we're going to get to your question along with some other ones. Pamela also said something here too. I know that we read for her already, but she did mention something here. She says, when my pop-up grandfather passed away, before I found out, I was asleep and I was woken by a dark male with a red shirt and a purple hat. He appeared in my doorway of my bedroom. Was that a sign to tell me my pop-up was passed on?
So it was that day. I mean, it was that evening that he passed.
Well,
You know, I mean, it could be. I would need to take a little bit more time. But you said a red shirt. I'm sorry, Ryan, what was
It was a red shirt with a purple hat.
A red shirt with a purple hat.
And she said it was morning.
And it was, he passed in the morning, or this is the dream that came forward in the morning?
That's a good question.
So, you know, again, colors in dream emphasize a point. The red of blood, the red of passion, the red of blood, of truth, of, you know, blood keeps us alive. Blood has oxygen, and it's a blood relationship. The purple hat is beautiful. For me, purple is royalty. So
She said
okay, so, you know, sometimes dreams are very vivid in the last cycle of our sleep. And it's called the last cycle of REM sleep, or rapid eye movement. There's the cycle of sleep happens maybe every hour and a half. So during the last cycle, we tend to remember our dreams a lot more vividly, because there's a chance that the dream images haven't misted away. And so I'm wondering, I mean, the purple hat is just beautiful. Again, royalty. Blue and red is purple. And so the blue of loyalty, of the red of blood relationship. You know, I'm wondering if that helps.
Absolutely. All right. So we got more questions here. They're coming in. They're coming in. I love it. I love it. I love it. And if people see this show and they hear about the dreams and the way you deliver them, it's absolutely amazing. So you do such an amazing job, and we learned so much, and I love it. But what she had mentioned about the doorway and seeing the colors, which she's seen that stood out so much in the whole dream, you know, the dark man, okay, so we're not seeing who the man is, but we're seeing the red shirt and the purple hat. And as you said, the royalty and the color of red and what it means. I mean, these are the hidden messages within the dream in which you were coming to a waking state. So you were capable of seeing that because your mind was still open to seeing the vision. So that's the psychic side of it, is the seeing the vision. And it was a way to let you know that they were saying, I may be physically gone, but I'm not spiritually gone.
Yeah.
So I'm here with you.
It's a beautiful touching.
It's an amazing thing. You know, when my grandfather passed away, he had done while all of us were sleeping. And we knew he was in the hospital. It was my grandmother, my mother, my father, my sister, and myself. And we all woke up at the same time. We all stood up. I was in my doorway. My sisters were in theirs. My parents were in theirs. And my grandmother was staying on the couch because we were going to the hospital in the morning. And we watched him walk out the back door. He woke us all up to say goodbye. And it wasn't but 5 minutes later, the hospital had called to let us know that he had passed. So it was very interesting. I was very young. I was 12. My sister was younger than I by 3 years. And, you know, my parents, everybody was just awoke. And we all got to watch him leave out the back door.
Leave out the back door.
He left out the back door. Yeah.
You know?
We felt like he came through the back door as well. He left how he came in.
Well, and I'm wondering, have you had dreams of him since?
Yeah, he comes to me and does something that we used to do. We used to paint together. And I would come to his house and paint. And we would just sit, paint, and talk. And he tells me a lot of things about myself that maybe that day I'm not feeling that there's that type of encouragement or a feeling of giving up. And I just feel like he comes to reassure me that.
Yeah, because what I got is I'll be back.
Yes. Many times over. And, you know, we all get into a place where we can lose a little confidence in something. And it's just nice to know that he knows exactly the right timing to walk through the door and say, you know, you're there for people. You got to continue. You do such a great job. Don't lose this about you. It's your spark, you know. And I appreciate it. And it's just amazing that he comes to visit, and it's awesome. But that's not the dream I'm going to talk about in a little bit. All right. Well, let's keep on going here. And all right. So Shay has joined us. Remember the lady I was telling you about earlier? Shay, she was going to join us and talk to us about her dream that she was telling us about last night, that I really wanted her to join in and get a chance to talk, because she had an interesting dream to bring to the surface. All right, we got another message from Facebook from Darlene. She says, a bit after my husband passed, I had a dream of a man. I don't know. He grabbed me by the arm and said nothing. He smiled and brought me to my counter that my phone sat on.
Okay. This figure you don't know, but he smiled.
She said, it only happened once, and I can still see him clear as day. It's been bothering me.
And this was shortly after your husband passed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can I see the previous?
Yes.
Yeah, this is a significant
message coming through. Yes.
Yeah.
Give me just a second. I will get to that message right now. All right. Here we go.
Okay. You don't know. He grabbed me by the arm.
Mm-hmm.
He said nothing. He smiled and brought me to my counter that my phone sits on. So if I kind of work backwards, a phone is a hearing connection.
Mm-hmm.
A counter is, flat out direct tabling, a counter.
Yes.
Encounter. And so my curiosity now is, you say that you can see him clearly. What does he look like?
Good question.
And the other thing is, and I ask this a lot, is if you were that man is now coming forward, grabbing your arm, and saying nothing but smiling. So if you go into the imagery of that man who's smiling, what is he feeling? What are you sensing that he's feeling?
He is short, stubby, with glasses, well dressed.
Okay. And so now he's grabbing your arm. And so as this man, who's short, stubby, well dressed with glasses, smiling, grabbing your arm, leading you to a counter with a phone, a hearing device. What is that man trying to, or what, how are you feeling if you were that man, is what I'm trying to say.
Nice. And while we're waiting for her to respond to that question, some of the psychic energy coming through is that the voice, the phone was the first thing I picked up, and it was showing communication. And I mean it to be direct, when you said the countertop. So I knew it was a direct connection to hearing something that she needed to hear. And I got not that she was supposed to speak, but to listen.
Yes.
So, and she said, I don't know, to your question.
Okay. And we don't know, but consider, and I appreciate that you brought this male figure forward, because I think if you perhaps stop to listen, this may be a familiar person. This may be a familiar energy that sometimes the dream self grabs us by the arm, and it's just that touch and leading, to a listening. I am sensing some comfort by this particular figure, and so I'm just suggesting, as a help, since we don't always know. It's wonderful that people bring things to, and that's the other thing that I love about dream groups. I also have hosted dream groups, and we'll get several perspectives. It's interesting that I can talk about other dreams. Sometimes I can't, decipher my own, but in a group of trusted people who are very learned in the language of dreams. And what I mean by that is in a respectful way. People will just say, it makes me feel like the arm, what is an arm? The armchair, it's not a hand, it's the arm. And then it's kind of like the first thing that, you and I, Ryan, came up with is that phone, that listening. So I'm just wondering if it may be helpful to get to know this man, and maybe meditating and bringing that image further, bringing it forth again and asking, what is it that you want me to listen to? What is it that you're leading me to? Why are you saying this? Or why are you here? I would actually communicate. I would actually try and get to know this person. And, for me, when dream imagery comes and it doesn't leave and I keep thinking about it, it's asking me to meditate on it and to get to know it. Because once we really capture the full essence of that visitor, we may receive some kind of answer, some kind of comfort, some kind of knowledge. I would invite you to do that.
Sure, that sounds scary.
Well, then I would also suggest a mentor, a trusted, friend, someone that you can hold hands with, someone that you can grab their arms. And then taking it further in sorrowful situations like that, it may require a therapist who actually understands that, that dream world. They're out in the field now. There's some wonderful therapists that are becoming more knowledgeable or more understanding of dream imagery. Sometimes, we can't really speak what's going on, but the dream self comes to communicate with us. And sometimes it takes, it takes other input. Thank you for bringing that.
Thank you so much, Darlene. That was very, very interesting dream. And remember, I was just getting that, we need to pay attention. It's not to say, it's to listen. So, all right. So we have another question coming from Facebook. This one comes from Kay. It says, "Hi, I always have a dream when I'm lying on my right side. I feel like someone is touching me on my left shoulder, and I was frozen, and I can't move, and I'm afraid. What is that about?"
I always have a dream when I'm lying on my right side, left shoulder. Okay, I always have a dream when I'm lying on my right side. So now I'm trying to feel what it's like to lie on the right side. Okay, I guess what the dream is kind of saying to me is the balance. Is it that I'm trying to be right? And is there an issue of there's another way to look at it?
Because to me, it is not a loving feeling.
Okay, I'm sensing something else here.
Mhm.
I don't quite know how to put that into words. Because what I would ask is when something uncomfortable comes up, I try and go into lucidity and say, why is this happening? Why are you there? And so for me, the practice is becoming lucid or waking up in that dream and asking. It's not a loving feeling. So I would wonder about that. I would actually ask. Sometimes there are images that, have both natures, like the snake in the grass or the healing, like I was just going to say something else. Spiders, they're tarantula spiders, but then they weave the web of life. They're informational. So that's why, again, I would ask if that's possible. And sometimes, and I don't quite know how to say this, but I can only relate it to myself and the experiences that I have had. When I'm not comfortable with the answer, and I ask that energy to stop, to flat out stop. I don't know if that's helpful because I think it's something else. I think it's it could be a balance thing, but I don't want to guess. I would ask that energy, that image, if that makes sense.
I think it's a man, either Billy, Joey, or Will.
Okay. Are these, now I'm wondering, are these people you know? Are they related to you? Are they living or have they passed? And what is it about their nature that's perhaps to the left? What is it about their nature that if I'm feeling right, why is it to the left? And again, I'm just looking at it holistically.
She says yes, but to what part? And then she says, please, I think it's a molestation.
Okay. And I am sensing there is something more there. It and respectfully, it's going to take a little bit more than the time that we have. Because if this occurred in waking life, I'm sensing that energy stop. But again,
Says Billy and Joey have passed away. Will is in his late 90s.
okay. I have so many more questions to ask, but respectfully, I won't. And I think I would want to know what is not quite right here.
Yeah, I do believe that there definitely is an underlining thing here, but I can say that Will has been eliminated from the group of people that you've put forth. I don't feel it in his nature to be traveling at that point. So I'm not getting that the spirit is so much connected to a vessel, which is the body, and more so that it has enough energy to pass through the dream dimension, like it's latched onto you into the waking dimension. She also said, ask. So are you asking? The question in which is going on here is what we're saying may be inappropriate to be having a discussion about openly on the chat system. So this is her way of, politely saying we should probably have this conversation off the air.
I'm going to suggest that because it's very important. I think that is, for that imagery to come forward and, for you to voice it, I think more in-depth working out would be beneficial.
We are going to have Marin on our website coming. This website should be ready by the end of the week. So, Kay, you would be able to have that conversation with Marin on the site. I know that you contact me on the site, and you'll be able to do the same things with her and speak with her directly. So you can, have this conversation in private, because this seems to be more of an intimate affair, and it may not be appropriate for the show. Okay? But we're here for you, and we'd like to get to the bottom of this for you. So just know that we're not leaving you without information. We just don't find it that we can say some of the things that need to be said on the air. But your question is deeply disturbing in the sense that something is still following you from the dream state into your waking state, which can be frightening. But I got to say, I know you say it's frightening, but you have some amazing spiritual guides that protect you and have been protecting you quite a bit. Oh no, honey, I don't want you to think that your question was wrong to ask. It was an amazing question, and I'm glad you asked it. Don't think that at all. We just don't want to express what the dream has openly, because it's more of a personal affair that you need to know about.
Yes, and please know that I am when the images come forward. And what it says to me is the image comes forward, and it's worth, it's worth dealing with, working out. So I am placing strength and facing that challenge.
Great. And I will light a candle for protection as for your sleep state. So as I told everybody yesterday, I light candles for those who ask for them. You know, they are just for blessings. I don't ask, no charge for them. You don't charge for blessings. So those are free. A lot of people are like, how much are they? I'm like, they're free. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah, really. She says, I just wanted to know who the man is. Well, we will get to that, honey. You'll just have to talk with us off the air when we get that taken care of, okay? We'll be more than happy to answer that question. But thank you, Kay, so much for your question. You always have good questions. And she'll make you laugh if you're not paying attention.
Wonderful.
It's definitely good. It's good fun here. All right. Well, our next question is coming from Facebook from Jennifer. It says, hello, long time journey. I'm still sober. Awesome. Congratulations. It says, I was hoping that you could tell me what does this mean. I dreamt of my Aunt Debbie, and she tells and she has a girlfriend. What does that mean? Does she really?
Okay. There's several things about this. And I would need to know who Aunt Debbie is. Is it someone that you're close to? Is it someone that you've been able to share intimate thoughts? Or is it someone that you just, how there's people in the family you really don't know?
Right.
And then she tells me she has a girlfriend. So questions that I ask is, does she have a girlfriend in waking life? Is this a surprise? Because she's not feeling towards her own gender. So is this a surprise, or did she truly have a relationship with her own gender, and now there's is she still living?
That's a good question. She says, all my dreams are so vivid. Sometimes I have a hard time discerning it. Is it a dream or reality?
Oh, beautiful. But again, I would wonder who Aunt Debbie is. Is she passed? Is she living? Is there a close connection? Or is it someone that, part of the family that you kind of don't deal with? Is she affectionate towards her own gender in waking life? And if not, is this revealed in a dream? And is it, because sometimes, it's falling in love with the feminine side. It's falling in love with our own feminine side. And, that can be really enhancing. So those are the questions that I have.
It makes me wonder, and the way that she placed the question on it, that she's more amongst the living as to she's asking, does she really have a girlfriend? So that's where I kind of got hung up on it. But I do like the question that you asked her: is she with us, or has she passed? And
two, again, when we have dreams about love and relationships, I tend to look at it more on the feminine and the masculine side of our own psyche.
Right.
So it isn't necessarily translated or interpreted literally.
Right.
Who knows? But,
right.
But is it that, and sometimes is it a teacher of waking our own inner selves about our own femininity and our own masculinity.
Right.
Be in love with our feminine side. So that's why I'm wondering who Aunt Debbie is.
Right. All right. Well, we're still waiting for Jennifer's response. And But I definitely feel as though, let's see, she says also dream a lot. She wrote a bunch of stuff in here about her dreams, but she hasn't responded yet. So, Jennifer, hopefully you're still with us so we can answer the rest of your questions. She says,
Yeah, I want to know who Aunt Debbie is.
I do too. I'm ready to know. And she says, I also dream a lot of me trying to get to my grandmother's before she dies, and she's already gone.
Oh,
Oh, that's
well, if I may,
absolutely.
yeah, if I may, still ask about Aunt Debbie.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
most
yeah.
definitely. I want to know about Aunt Debbie. Come on, Jennifer, give us some give us some Debbie talk, because I'd like to know, because I feel as though that she was trying to me, it felt like she was definitely, as you were saying, to play off of what you were saying with the femininity, the feminine side.
Me.
It's an anemone. The feminine side is like getting more in touch with it, embracing it.
Yeah.
I felt that a lot when you were saying that. I was connecting to that at the same time, and I was like, oh, okay. She needs to embrace that side of her. I feel she more walked away from it a little bit. And that's doing simple things. Like I was telling somebody the other day, when you dress up, you feel a certain way, you feel good, and you feel confident about yourself. And sometimes we take a step back from that because we're not feeling that confidence at that moment. And I always say, take the time to enjoy yourself, make yourself look pretty, make yourself feel good inside. I dress up every day and I feel good and I feel handsome, and it's very inspiring. And I had somebody say something to me today. They said, Journey, you do readings from 9 o'clock in the morning until midnight. Where do you find energy? And I was like, well, Spirit gives me a lot of energy. Like I've told people before, lighting a candle, and if you're new at the craft, lighting a candle to obtain the energy from the candle, so you're not using all yourself and burning yourself out. But my favorite method is using Reiki energy. Yes, using Reiki energy from the universe. Oh my gosh, that's so empowering. And you continue to keep feeling so good and so positive. And it just keeps funneling in. And if you're not careful, you don't shut it off, and then you can't sleep like me sometimes. And then you just wake up all over again. But the same thing with dreaming. I've actually used Reiki in my dream state, which was really awesome. I've done that a couple times. And
that really allows the channel to breathe.
It feels so good. It feels like you're on a cloud, and it's so relaxing. I can't even tell you. I mean, it's so relaxing. It's I feel so good, like I had taken a muscle relaxer and I'm just good. That's how it feels when you use Reiki inside the dream state. It's very interesting. Now, I've had some dreams where I've done like abilities, like moving things with the mind, and being able to stop time, and things of that nature in my dreams. And I always thought that was so interesting, but never knew what that meaning was behind that.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why I was doing that.
And it's again, it's that connection on the beyond the surface, beyond the physical. And it's being able to, I mean, and this just kind of, I just got to hit on this. In a dream, I've been able to walk through a wall.
Oh, wow.
And see the wood chips as I walk by.
That is awesome.
And the paint, it's just like I'm walking through the wall. It's just a way of getting beyond what it is. The dream self is, I just encourage the communication, that dream language. I encourage that. We just, I just absolutely love it.
Well, I don't think Jennifer's with us. She might tune back in, so maybe we'll find out about
Aunt Debbie.
And if not, guys, we're going to be on edge until next week when we do the dream interpretations again. All right. So while we wait for Jennifer to finally return, we're going to go ahead and take the next question coming from Facebook. Alexander, I tend to have these dreams that I run and fight, and I also end up being choked by someone. The person is the same person, but I can never see their face. I am told that I stop breathing during these dreams. I have gone to the doctor, and they have said that they are seizures, but I tend to either wake crying or mad or both, or being woke up being the same way. Please help me make sense of these.
Okay.
I'm going to leave that up for a second for you to continue to keep looking at it.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so they are faceless. Now, okay, so in the waking physical life, you have physically seen a doctor. Or, you know, I mean, you have seen a doctor. And so again, I was going to suggest seeing a doctor and getting medical advice on that. So I can talk about the other side of that. When we're running and fighting, you can take that down, Ryan.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for
that way we can see you.
I was allowed to make notes on that. Thank you. So
Alexander said yes to what you had said.
So when I'm going to look at all sides of that particular image. When the dream self is being choked, sometimes the waking self, sometimes the connection or the communication is that I'm being choked in waking life. There's something I want to say, but I'm not allowed to say it. Or there's something that I feel, you know, and it's kind of a strong emotion. So, you know, dreams also talk in puns. I get all choked up, you know, wow, that was really choking me. Or, you know, it's kind of what is choking me? What is it that I'm not really allowing to express? So it's that neck area. And I would ask, what is the chakra of that area? It's an area of communication. They claim it's the wire that the seizures cross that make this recurring dream every time. I don't believe there are seizures. I feel that it happens due to the dream. Okay, so I'm thinking though that there are brain connections that kind of don't fire or they fire all at once. And our dreaming brain, you know, there are several things that go offline, and the things that go offline are the touch, you know, getting water and drinking it. Now, there are sleep disorders where those things don't go offline. So there's actually sleepwalking. There could also be parts of the brain that are misfiring, or that are, you know, that things aren't going offline or something like that, that is causing physical seizures. So what I'm wondering is, you know, that kind of meditation before we go to bed, or as we start to fall asleep, is to kind of reimagine the fighting and the running. And my reimagining, what I'm imagining of this reimagining is, what am I running from? What am I running from? And Who am I fighting? And am I trying to get a fighting chance? What am I running from? You know, what am I fighting myself about? Because sometimes the dream images, we are fighting ourselves. We're running from ourselves. And so in that state, it gets very stimulating, you know. So in journaling or in meditating before we go to bed is just relaxing and then reimagining, you know, why am I running? Maybe I don't need to run. Maybe the person that's running after me, maybe I can stop them and ask them, why are you running after me? Or if I'm fighting someone, why am I fighting? And does that dream image really want to fight with me? So then I would ask, in waking life, what am I fighting? What am I fighting for? What am I fighting with? So those are different areas that I can go with this. I always like to look at the medicine with these kind of scary, disturbing dreams, these kind of traumatic dreams. That's when I kind of go back and just, journal about it, ask these questions, work with the running and the fighting. And what is it that I need to say? What is it in waking life that I really need to let out? I really hope that helps. But I also am glad that you are seeing a doctor.
The only person I run from was my father, who was very abusive when I was a child.
Then you know what? I'm wondering if the dream self is saying, you're feeling choked, talk about it. Get it out, talk about it. And I'm wondering, it's like, the dream self is still fighting, still running, still fighting. And it's that energy that the dream body is still trying to process and work out. But again, I think too, it has affected physically. So I'm really happy about, that you mentioned you're going to the doctor, but I think this, if I may say, this may take a dream therapist because, and I look at it as, first responders, people who have been in war, people who have gone through such traumatic experiences where they need to revisit this part in order to work it out. I think I mentioned a story about a person who their apartment building was on fire and people died. And in his reimagination of the dream, he was able to reach for the fire hose, finally get people out, finally alert 911 or whatever. But it was a process. It really was a process, and it was a practice. It was a practice that this person really desired to work out those issues. I really hope that helped in this short amount of time. I really hope that helped.
All right. Well, Alexander, I hope we were able to answer what you were trying to get out of the dream here. And thank you so much for your question.
Absolutely.
We're going to keep going here and take the next question, which comes from Shay. She says, "Hi, sorry, I was cooking." She says, "I'm here." And she said, "I had a dream today. I was on a vacation. I think it was in California. I don't remember all, but at the end, it was a lot of water washing over steps. I was walking down, and I seen images of the person." She says, "Who was passing away in images such as trees and such. I'm sorry, I can't describe the dream I have, but it's been every day since he passed that I had the dream, no matter if I took a nap or slept. She goes, somebody said he was trying to tell me something and to contact me, but not understanding the dreams. She says, we talked about having a son one day, and I dreamt he held the baby, and his disappeared with the baby in his hands. She says, I've been so hurt. I was thinking about ending my life, but out of nowhere, I had a dream about him and fell asleep.
May I see the beginning of the may I see the beginning?
There we go.
Vacation in California. But at the end, it was lots of water washing over steps. You know, so may I see the second part as well?
Yes.
Who passed away in images since he passed. So I'm imagining this person has passed, and that there was a tremendous love. And who passed away in images such as trees. So did this image fade into a tree? Did the image, you know, transition from a person into a natural thing? Somebody said he's trying to tell me something. Well, okay. I don't know if you're in California. I guess I would wonder, what does California mean to you? It appears that this is a vacation, someplace where the body can rest. Usually when we go on vacation, we need a break. And we just want other distractions. Yes, his face was hidden in leaves. Oh, that is so beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, so this, for time's sake, I'm just going to voice what I'm feeling. I'm going on vacation in 2 weeks.
To California.
Okay. So, the dream self is saying, wow, you really need a break. Let's go to whatever the nature California is bringing up. I think of beaches, and Malibu Canyon and things of that nature. Something that's out there, out in nature. And I think what is really striking me is water that is going down some steps. So if I look at water, as I mentioned, it's not like a tsunami wave. It's water going down steps. So I'm thinking there's a couple of steps that needs to be taken.
Oh, wait, I think also because he planned on going 1 year for his birthday to California.
Ah, okay. So California represents, connecting with that perhaps. But what may I see the washing over steps part?
Yeah, let me get there for you.
That's the first part, because that's really such a wonderful medicine to this dream. Water washing over steps. I was walking down. So, okay, that really helps me. Thank you.
She says water was violent water rushing. I think it was anger or angry because he is not at peace, but it was eventually calming in images.
Okay, so the fact that water is going down steps, I'm wondering if in waking life, and as you mentioned in your last entry, that it was indeed very, very life, challenging. That it's going to take some steps down into one's essence, down into one's emotional being, and really deal with those violent kind of rushing waters. And hopefully, when we get to the bottom of the steps, with each step, it'll eventually become calming. And the fact that this image turns into a tree, what I think of as, when an image is turning into a tree, a tree has a solid trunk, but it can also bend in the wind. Sometimes what I've said, to people is be like a tree. Sometimes we have to be rooted into the mother earth, and we grow with this central trunk, but we can also bend when times get really tough, and boy, do they. I recently went through the fires, and I took some lavender with honey, and I went among the trees to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But surprisingly, the trees said, we've gone through this over and over again. This is only one part. So that's why that tree image is significant to me. And I'm wondering if it's going to be helpful for you. His face was blending into the leaves. It reminds me of the Green Man. The Green Man is someone of wisdom.
You think because it's a huge police investigation that eventually the truth is going to come out at the end?
I would have to ask more questions about that aspect of it. But I think there is peace there. What I'm sensing is that violent rushing of water down the steps, perhaps getting to the truth of the matter. It's going to take some steps to get there. But the fact that, and again, respectfully, this person has passed, that they are now going into peace and becoming the Green Man, becoming familiar with their natural surroundings. That is an intensely wonderful dream. I hope that you are journaling. I would wonder even drawing those steps. Are they high steps? Are they low steps? I wonder if I would draw the steps, or even go out in nature and pour some water down some steps or down a hillside. And how does that feel? I wonder if I would write it down and go on a walk. Take that water with you and look at the leaves. I hope that helps in some healing way. Thank you for bringing that forward.
Absolutely, Shay. And, I do feel as though the steps lead to the clarity. That leads to the clarity in which you need to take. So it's going to take time in order for this investigation to be able to move forward. But I have a feeling that he's leading you down the steps. That's why he's showing up in images, letting you know that I am at peace, but I would love for this to be solved. So you're going to be a big, important part in this. I have a feeling. She says that she did mention here just now that said the steps were concrete leading to the beach.
When you come to California, there are beaches with steps. Zuma Beach, Leo Carrillo Beach, if you're coming to Southern California.
Beautiful. She says, yes, thanks. It helps. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. We have some more here. Let's keep going. And we got Shay's, and then now we got Paula's. She said, Paula, or Pamela, I don't know why I was calling her Paula, but her name is Pamela from Facebook. We had talked to her just a minute ago. She said, had another dream. I was walking in a circus-style cream-colored tent, a huge one, with my aunt that passed away. We weren't looking for dresses. We were looking for dresses, a red gown, princess style or wedding-ish, beautiful dress for her. The strange part was everyone with us had passed on. I was the only one still in the flesh.
Now, so that your aunt has passed.
Yes.
There's some amazing dreams of visitations tonight.
Absolutely. I see a theme.
just amazing, isn't that?
Yes.
They're coming forward. And, I mean, very, Ryan, you're more of the psychic connection.
Yes.
And I'm more the dream world.
Mm-hmm.
But I really feel like people are trying to come through.
Yes.
And I'm really feeling they would like to connect. And they're asking me to, try and help with that connection. So again, I very much appreciate that. A circus tent, what do you think of a circus tent? Somewhere where there's happiness, where there's play.
Entertainment.
Entertainment. I think of Cirque du Soleil. I happen to love that show. It's cream colored. So it's not like intensely striped. It's not intense, but it's a place of joy and happiness, like a circus kind of feeling. And, like circusy, you think of, God, what a circus this is. But I'm sensing, the circus, the fun part, of the circus. And that you are now in a tent, a protection. You're tented with those who have passed. And as I've mentioned before, it's my belief that those who have passed are in nirvana, that they are now in the purity of peace and love. And now we're searching for a red dress, that excitement of red, that passion, that I'm getting animated now because this is so beautiful.
Yes, I'm right there with you.
that redness, and the fact that it's a princess or wedding style. So it's not just your common red dress.
Right.
It is royalty. It is a joining. It's a joining of souls, of marriage, of beginning something new. And so I'm just wondering if your aunt has brought you to this place of joy. Try on some dresses. In fact, here's a red one, and it's a princess. You know, I think of also children who dress up in clothes. You know, they want to dress all princessy, or just something that is fun and meaningful and makes you look beautiful. Um, and in red, you know. So I'm sensing that the people around you, maybe they're ancestors, maybe they're people of the old stories, maybe they're DNA type of connections, maybe there's some wisdom there, or maybe you're invited to have some fun, and you're in the protection, you're tented, you're in the protection of a tent. That's kind of my take on it. I hope that resonates with you.
Well, you know, in my belief and living life cycles of 9, we all go through our different stages of life to bring back and to experience each level. And the dress represented a rebirth. We were excited for the person to be reborn, and that you had the privilege in order to see that. So, and be a part of it and to choose. And that because we were representing the royalty of it and the fact that it was a dress showing me that she's coming back again as a female. So it was very interesting.
Feminine side, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
we were very connected to the feminine side of her, and to me, it felt as a rebirth, and that you got to be a part of it. And it was, you were basically saying it's okay to come back. You were giving the welcome back. I'm so excited. I'm so glad I could be a part of that. And the tenting was the protection. It felt more like the womb to me. So I seen the tenting and the protection in which you were talking about, Marin. It's amazing. That was very beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Pamela.
Thank you.
All right. We have another question here. Also from Facebook, coming from Sierra, said, I had a dream that I was visiting my great grandparents in a big pink room full of people who seemed to be visiting their loved ones also. While I was talking to my grandparents for a while, they said to follow them. So we're walking down a very long hallway and stopped at a photo, and it's a picture of Jesus Christ. So he had very wavy, short brown hair, a scruffy beard, and a mustache, and hazel eyes. And they also told me a few interesting facts about him. Could this be a sign of needing to? Uh, she didn't respond to the needing to part. I'm not sure what needing to is. So, Sierra, if you could finish that sentence there, that would be beautiful. But I'm going to let Marin talk on the parts in which you have brought forth, and then maybe you can answer the rest of her questions as she asks them.
Okay, thank you. Full of other people who seem to be visiting there. So we have the ancestors once again.
Mm-hmm.
Also, while I was talking to my grandparents for a while, they said, okay, so I think what strikes me, and you can take that down. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Just making a couple more notes.
Absolutely.
You know, I think of.
She finished her sentence, looking into my beliefs more.
Well, first, let me, suggest that these are great grandparents. they're the ancestry. You know, they're two steps removed, right? It's the parents, the grandparents, and the great grandparents.
Yes.
So it's connecting with the ancestors, with the old stories. You know, I don't know. I mean, because it's a photo, it's an image of someone who is the Son of God, who has been described as Jesus, the Son of God. It's a photograph, and so it makes me wonder, what kind of pictures are we looking at? I don't always know if we're called to a specific thing, but I'm wondering if the great stories or the great grandparents had a connection with a certain belief. And I'm wondering if the ancestors are trying to get us connected with a system that grounds us. So whether or not it's religious, I'm wondering if it's a belief in goodness. And so, for example, Jesus represents, thou shalt not judge, um, uh, love the other as you would yourself, or treat the other as you would yourself. These are such wonderful, loving kind of things. So I'm wondering if it's the ancestors that's talking about believing in something that is love, and that is, well, a belief system that is um, symbolized as kind and loving. And the fact that it's pink, pink is friendly. Pink is a combination of red and white. And so there's the pureness and the lightness of the red. So pink is kind of friendship. And so again, I don't always say you need to. I'm suggesting that I'm wondering if the ancestry is suggesting to connect with something that's loving. And what I saw was walking down a hallway, and what I kind of gathered was walking down a path. And it takes a path to get there. And the wonderful thing is we're accompanied by our ancestors. Does that make sense?
It does to me.
That's beautiful. I'm really seeing that the you know, these beings are just coming through, and they're very joyful.
Yes.
They're very happy to come through.
I feel it's more as though it's in a time of need. We've been through a pandemic, and we've been through, a lot of different things here as the pandemic's still, running rapid at this point. We're losing over 4,000 people a day, which is sad here just in this country alone.
Yes.
And, at the rest of the world. And we're losing lots of life, and it's just unnecessary.
Yes.
And she says, yes, that it was beautiful, and it absolutely did.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
We do.
Oh.
I was going to say, we do have time for a few questions, and then we'll be ending here in about 15 minutes, you guys, just letting you know. But
okay.
You can come back with more dreams and things next Thursday at 10 o'clock. Marin will be joining us, and we'll be doing more.
Fun.
Yeah, tonight the messages are really strong through, familiars and family members and great friends and things that
people crossed over and are just reassuring, and connecting.
Absolutely. All right, so we have another question from Shauna. She says, I dream that I will die young. Should I be taking that literally or figuratively?
Oh, okay. Um, I um, I love dreams of death. I'm sorry, but
No, it's the ending of a cycle.
yes, that's exactly what it is. It's it's dying to the old ways. It's dying to our youngness. It's dying to what we thought was true, and it's being reborn and reborn. Um, I dream that I will die young. So I'm taking it that you are a young person uh, at the moment. Um, I have lived many generations, so and I have died many times. Um, but with each, I okay. So basically, I would not take it literally. I would take it joyously and and rebirthing. It's almost like butterflies. You know, the caterpillar dies and becomes mush in the cocoon, and then grows again, and then mates, becomes a caterpillar, dies again, and then comes out as a butterfly. And it's very many stages. So, again, if dying is scary. I mean, there are parts of death dreams that can be very scary. So that's why I would ask the dream self, what are you trying to tell me? What is it that needs to end? What is it that needs to die off? Do I have some kind of thought? Am I doing some kind of behavior that I'm stuck on and that needs to die? That needs to end. So I would want to communicate with the dream self and kind of get that advice. Um, and 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 I think you'll find some information. I would meditate on that. Yes.
Absolutely. I kept getting end of old cycles and bringing in the new and the rebirth and the fresh.
Absolutely. Wow.
A lot of
Um,
positivity there.
you know, um, this is kind of what is coming out for me.
Hmm.
Um, in tonight, I don't know why this is coming forth, but it seems like I have to say it. Thank you very much. Um, in this time of COVID and unrest and sadness and anger and things of that nature, if someone asks me, well, how do you feel about all this? It can be overwhelming. But the way I answer it and the way I look at it is, how does the mother handle these things? How does the Mother Earth handle these things that are taking place? During the spring, the flowers come out. The fall, the harvest. Then there's the nuclear bombs. And then her lungs choke with pollution. How does she handle all this? It's all part of it. And as the mother, as the grandparents, as the great grandparents, we try and stay present.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that's the moment we all been waiting for. I have had a new dream recently, which is usually brings me to um, my next new person that is spiritual, who doesn't usually know their exact talents, but they will shine once they come through. And the colors were different, and they stood out. Usually, this part of the dream is in black and white until I get to the glowing orb, and the glowing orb usually shows me the colors of who they are and what's going on. So the difference in this dream this time was that I was when I got into the dream, I was actually laying down. I was in what looked like a mud hut instead of a building, like I normally find myself in, like big story buildings with nothing in them. And I just walk into the room. This time I was actually laying down, and I sat up and I walked out. But I noticed that the bedposts were made of wood, not metal this time. They were made of wood. They were yellow, and the walls themselves were this like desert orange type color. And now the other stuff is still in black and white, but I just felt it was different because the orange in the walls and the yellow of the posts is not usually how those dreams work. So as I go on my adventure to get to the next destination where I'm going to find the next orb, rather than the orb having the color, it was actually white this time instead of, vibrant color. Like when I found Holly, she had a different color. I think she was purple or blue, one of those colors. And this time the color of the orb was white. And of course it was as tall as I was. It's almost like it was like a doorway to walk through. But of course I knew not to walk through it because that's someone's spirit. And I was curious of only those walls in that hut and those bedposts that were that had color. But I remember something that two main things that I remember. I was laying down, and the bed that I was on was hay instead of a mattress. It was hay with a sheet over top of it. And there was one pillow which my head was laying upon. And I was laying in the central part of the bed when I woke. And I got off on the right side, if I remember correctly.
On the right side.
On the right side. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm glad that I can ask you questions.
Yes.
When you went into the mud hut,
mm-hmm.
What did the mud hut look like?
It had no windows. It just had a doorway, but it was an arched doorway, so it wasn't a square one. You could definitely tell that it was made out of clay, so you knew that it was a clay wall. But it was like a very vibrant desert orange. It was very bright, but the room was lit by, all I could see was an orb in the corner. I couldn't tell if it was a lantern or if it was a lamp or what it was. I didn't pay much attention to where the light was coming from, but it had that yellow color to it. But the bedposts were yellow. The walls were that beautiful orange color. But when you look up and look at the roof, it was wood planks. You could tell they were wood planks and twigs, but they were black and white. You couldn't see color with that.
So I'm wondering. I mean, I may be putting words into my own imagery, but
yeah,
would it be like a sweat lodge?
Correct. Something to that nature.
Okay, because it was round. Mm-hmm. Okay, so those are kind of, I forgot what those are called. Yurts?
Yeah, yurts.
Yeah.
So much for a yurt.
So that is a place of, once again, going inside oneself without trimmings, without the metal, without the human, without accessory.
Right.
It's going into the mud and the sweat of ourselves, going within. No windows. The posts, yellow. Mm-hmm. The bed, the place of rest is very, very basic. Mm-hmm. Very primary.
Yes.
I would say. But the post is yellow. Mm-hmm. So when I think of yellow and orange, of course, when I think about tarot cards, it's the sun.
Yes.
The yellow of the joyous and the newness of the sunlight.
Yes.
And the orange to me is like the monks, the Tibetan or the Buddhist monks.
Yes,
with
it's that color of their robes.
the
Yes.
robes, So this is something of self-understanding.
Yeah.
And again, I'm in the dream. I can see the images, and I'm putting my hands around myself as a self-understanding in a yurt, in a mud hut, in a sweat lodge. And the fact that the orb is white, that is the reflection of everything. It's the purity. Lightning flashes white. I'm just wondering, I'm seeing a tremendous going into oneself and a deeper understanding of the mud of our souls. In order to express it with joy and with compassion to a new spirit who doesn't know yet.
Right.
And the intensity of that orb, I'm seeing almost not lightning, but
Yeah.
charge.
A charge that surrounds it. Absolutely.
So the challenge.
Like a mist of light.
Yes. So the challenge, I'm looking at it as a challenge because sometimes it's hard to go into a portal.
Yes.
Especially in an orb. But I'm wondering if that might be okay. I just went in. I'm wondering if that would be a new charge, and it's the whiteness, that wisdom. But no, it's not an old wisdom. It's a nice charged wisdom. And so that's why, we can meditate on this all night.
Absolutely.
Going within that orb and being inside, and then somehow the glass or whatever it is, the boundaries fade. And then now we're within that orb. And now that we're within that orb, it is now within our own spirit. I think there's a lot there. There's a lot there with this particular orb, because I'm wondering if it's your orb.
I wondered that myself because the situation was completely different.
Yeah.
So usually I find myself in the same building with the metal, and it was very industrial. And then, because there is nothing, there's no one, but these orbs that I find in different places. But this time I was in what looked like a yurt made out of the mud and clay.
Yeah.
It had basic layings, but the one thing I can remember inside the yurt is in the center, just like the hut, there's clay there, and it goes up into the roof, into the ceiling. And I remember that being in the center, so you could walk around. There wasn't much room to walk around in there. Probably about 6 foot wide, and it just went 6 foot wide all the way around in a circle.
Was it like a chimney?
It kind of seemed like one, but I didn't see an opening for a chimney.
Okay. And where was the orb in that hut?
And the bed was along the wall, but right on the left side where I see a table, which is in black and white. The orb wasn't on the table, but beside it, but yet I can't tell if it was a lamp. Was it an orb? Where was the light coming from?
Okay, I'm seeing the orb is floating. not like completely, but I'm seeing that it's floating.
Right. It was at a lower level, like right at level of the table, the end table.
Okay. So something is tabled.
Mm-hmm.
There's the table side that we all, we need to write our notes. We need to be organized. We need to table a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
But this orb is appearing.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me think, I mean, the bed was wood.
Yes.
There's clay. There's mud,
Mm-hmm.
a sweat lodge.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm wondering or what I'm sensing is a need to be within or be with nature.
Yes.
And it's almost in darkness because that orb is going to glow. And once that orb glows, I'm feeling like I just want to go inside it.
Yes.
And then as I'm inside, those walls or that ceiling or the boundaries will start to disappear. So, I mean, I hope this is resonating for you because it's telling me to renew myself,
Yes.
to go back into nature and renew so that the yellow and the compassion of the orange will be able to come out again or be just re-energized or regenerated or something like
I
that.
was thinking about going back to it's called the Natural Bridge here, and it's this gorgeous gorge with these beautiful stones, but there's a natural bridge that nature had made, and it's absolutely beautiful. So I'm thinking about taking a hike there again here real soon.
Thank you. I mean, that's the dream body is giving you some wonderful messages and medicine.
Yes, I mean, I felt warm. It felt so comfortable, very calming. It was just very at awe. It's right
Yeah.
there with having Reiki inside your dream. It was very peaceful dream, which has caused me to want to stay and lay longer in the dream state, which I find myself sleeping longer than I would normally. So it's kind of thrown off my sleeping as to oversleeping a little, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but then again, I'm wondering if the dream self is saying you need some more rest.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
know?
think so too. I've been really on the go.
Yeah. And to be with yourself.
Absolutely.
You know?
Well, Marin, we have run out of time.
Woo!
It's been 2 hours. We've had some fun. We've had some really good questions.
Wow.
I know it flew by, didn't it?
I just want to say thank you to everyone that brought those images forward, and I enjoyed communicating with your ancestry and bringing them forward for you. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. This was an amazing night. There was definitely a theme of family oriented, bringing comfort. There was a lot of comfort tonight. And even with my dream, it was bringing me comfort to relax a little bit. So definitely the theme of the night. Everybody needs a little comfort.
Thank you.
All right, Marin, thank you so much for joining us. And tune in tomorrow night, guys. It's going to be myself, Journey Ryan, doing some readings. And next week, we'll have a special guest, and we'll tell you who that is on Monday. All right. Thank you so much, Marin. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Until then, I'll see you tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Have a great night, everybody.